Hello, Jay Fazet here, the founder of JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. And I agreed to do a video about what is working now, or what I believe people should be focusing on now in the face of this pandemic and the epic changes that are going on pretty much in every aspect of our lives. And what I thought I would do is I would share with you really the 5 points that we have been focusing on. Please understand, focusing on doesn't mean that we've been doing them exceptionally well, but we've been trying our absolute best. And we've actually created some pretty fantastic results in the last little while. So I'm going to go through them as quick as I can. Feel free to jump into the ones that seem to work for you. Feel free to disregard anything that doesn't seem to apply to you. But here's what we found. Here we are going into basically the second month. And in that time frame, there are some things that have been pretty exceptional. So let's start with the number one on the list, which is this. What we have deliberately chosen to do is to double down on relationships. And when I say double down on relationships, I mean that in the perspective of my primary relationship with my dear wife, my family, the people who are closest to me, my team, the people who work with and for me, and my tribe, the community that comes together to work on joint ventures, building their businesses, and communicating. Now, just to be clear about this, we've done this in a whole bunch of different ways. For example, my wife and I have sort of agreed to turn the TV off in the bedroom so that we can actually spend quality time together, connecting, recreating our life, our world, redefining our relationship, and what it is that we want to become post-COVID. Family. We're homeschooling, which depending on the day is its own unique path to hell. But for the most part, what it's providing is also providing a bunch of space and creativity to get things done in a shorter span of time and to look for other options and opportunities. Our team, we've been doing fun little things from playing Cards Against Humanity online, to having virtual wine nights, to trying to spend more time just making sure that the core team is taken care of and that they don't have to worry about jobs or they don't have to worry about income or any of those sorts of things during this time. And we're doing everything we can in that domain. And then our tribe, we have been adding all sorts of additional Facebook Lives, a brand new show called Ask Me Anything, but ways to feature and to help our tribe get their message out to the world. And those are just a handful of the ways, but here's the thing that has been driving us most. What is the action? What is the behavior? How do we reach out to actually build the relationships with the people that are most significant and important to us? By the way, obviously, JV Partners is a big piece of that as well. Now, the second to that is this, and this is going to sound as obvious as can possibly be, but let's be clear. If you have a business, if you are an entrepreneur, you need to go where your customers are. So what that means is, even if you've been online, this means you've got to double down on getting online. So that might be a transition, that might be getting better opt-ins, that might be participating in summits, that might be running summits, that might be finishing your course and working with Carrie, that could be setting up an e-commerce program, that could be anything. But here's the thing I want you to understand is this, is that it is not accidental that Amazon Prime, usually a 2-day delivery, is now looking at 6 weeks. Now, let's be clear about this, people are still buying things, people are still engaging, people are still participating, and people are still investing. Are you where they are? And do you have an offer that they need? And if the answer to those two things is not yet, or I'm in the process, you got to get busy as quickly as you possibly can, because people are still buying, we still have requirements, entrepreneurs still have problems, relationships still have difficulties, all of these things are still going on. And the question is, can you be found? And are you where people are at in terms of the purchasing process? So go where your customers are and figure out what that means to you. Now, this next one I could talk an awful lot about, but it is incredibly important. It is this. You must do 2 things. Ask for and be open to support. And at times of difficulties, the good news is most people are a little bit better at it at times of difficulties, but let's be clear about this. Many entrepreneurs aren't that good at receiving support. They aren't even that good at asking for support. So here's what I mean by this, is that depending on where you live, there's an inordinate number of government programs. Have you taken action on every single one of those programs that you can? Have you at least done your paperwork? Have you filed the work that has to be done? Have you put yourself in the possibility of receiving that support? Now, of course, beyond that, communities. Almost every single organization I know has some form of support. And that can be something as simple as network and being able to talk to people. That is complementary coaching. That is complementary counseling. That is like there's all sorts of pieces. So have you really shown up in your community? By the way, like just little simple things. in our community, there's a little process for the kids where we put things in the windows that other people can see, and then the kids get to mark it off and have a little bit of a fun and entertainment. Like, just, are you really both giving and receiving support in your communities? Mastermind groups is another fantastic one. If you aren't in a mastermind group, have you considered actually starting one? Like, one of the things that we do in our JVology Live is we teach people how to set up their own little mini mastermind groups. And they're incredibly powerful, and they make a monumental difference to build what I'm going to call the entrepreneurial and the social safety net in times of challenge like this. This one's kind of funny, actually. Neighbors. I mean, we have been blessed with some of the best neighbors in the universe. They shovel our walks in winter. We cut their lawn in summer. We share wine over, like, they're just good people. But there's lots of people who don't know their neighbors. And if you don't know your neighbors, this would be an appropriate time to go out and say hello. There was a post from a dear friend of mine on Facebook who went and met her neighbors, and now she doesn't sleep so well at night. But for the most part, go meet your neighbors, for crying out loud. And the biggest thing I want you to understand is this, is that we all need to be deliberate about, number one, engaging, asking, and receiving support. And number two, engaging, giving, and offering support, because it is when we come together that those things are going to make the most difference for us. So again, number one, just so you don't lose it, number one is relationships. Number two is go where your customers are, which is frankly online. Number three is support in every aspect, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationship-wise, all of it. Engage and figure out every day, what am I doing to engage, elicit, and participate in support? Now, number four, and this is a big one. And it's harder to do. I want to just acknowledge this, is that number four is this: do your own work. Do your own work, do your own work, do your own work. What this means is that in our busy lives, most of us have lots of opportunity to be distracted, to be busy, to be spread too thin, to be, in my case, jumping on planes, trains, and automobiles to do a bunch of things for teaching, training, learning, meeting customers, all those sorts of things. But the truth is, at home, I've got some time and I've got some space. So when I say do your own work, for example, that means your personal development. I've been leading a course in a program called the 12 Pillars of Creation Acceleration, which are just 12 core concepts about how do I do my own work and how do I apply it in my life right now. I have been loving that process, and the people who've been engaging with me have been creating stunning and amazing results. So what is your personal development plan for you during this time frame? Now, of course, next to that is health and fitness. Now, I'm very proud to say in my household, I have lost 20 pounds since this has started. I have run the fastest 10Ks that I have run. Good God. Well, in terms of, I mean, the last time I did a sub 60-minute 10K, I was 50 years old, and that was just a hair in, and I'm like a minute under. I'm stronger and healthier than I've been in an incredibly long time. It is because I've been using that time to do my own work and to take care of myself. My dear wife has lost 25, 26 pounds. So, we're down 50 pounds in 2 weeks, in 2 months, and really happy about that. We've also recommitted to our meditation process and have been meditating every single day. By the way, thank you, Krista, for the suggestion and the guided meditations that you've sent. They have been absolutely fantastic. And in that entire process, what I want you to understand is whatever your journey is, health, fitness, spiritual development, meditation, slowing yourself down, whatever it is, this is the time to do that work. This is the time for the personal reset at a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level that is going to create all sorts of opportunities as we head through this process. So number four is do your own work, whatever that means to you. And of course, number five is this: systems and organization. And if you're going to do a digital business, you need some systems. You've got to get those things organized. You've got to have a CRM. You've got to have a way to collect money. You've got to have something to sell. You've got to have an opt-in page. You've got to have ways of tracking all these things. You've got to have software. It goes on and on and on. If you're going to get where your customers are, that's going to take some time. But I'm not just talking about business systems. I'm also talking about organization. Like, one of the things that we did early on was we emptied our closets and we organized all of the closets. Now, that might not seem like a big deal to you, but it is monumentally significant, and it cleans and culls the energy. Done the same thing in the garage. Last weekend, we did the same thing in the yard. Our cars, we have been completely cleaned and overhauled and got caught up on all of the maintenance and those pieces. So this is a great opportunity for a bunch of those pieces. Little household projects. I got 2 pictures I still got to hang, and that has to happen this week in terms of the agreements there. What about your bookkeeping? What about your accounting system? What about your expenses and your automotive tracking pieces? Like, there are just so many things that in this time we can tackle. So here's the reality of this, is that the essence of, what you should be doing when COVID is on is this, is that you should be really using this pause, this global pause, to do that which is most important to you. And for me, top of the list is relationships. Then it is go where your customers are. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to figure that thing out. No ifs, no ands, no buts. Number 3, support. Figure out all of the ways in which you're going to engage in support. That means giving it, that means receiving it, that means all of it. After that, of course, do your own work. This is perhaps one of the most important pieces out of all of it. And then systems and organization. Every single one of us could take those 5 categories and create something pretty damn magical through this process. And if you want to come and do that, if it's like, oh, what about communities and sorts of, if you want to come check out our communities, please come check out jveology.com. Our global lounge has been one of the most fantastic things in terms of community through this process. I have been absolutely loving everyone in there. But these are the things to do. This is the way to direct your energy. This is the way to consciously create when most of the world is unconsciously contracting. If there's anything we can do to help you out, come visit jveology.com and we'll help you to the best of our ability. Thank you. Bye.